Okay, welcome to Markolide, the Friendship
Hi.
Day edition. Hi. So, so this is Shirin. I just read your caps and I couldn't resist imitating the
Well,
font.
I was just realizing when you put it, and how does it show up? I was just can't really look at it in that sense. But we know our names, but then just in a sense of how someone watches the video and then what comes up. So I said, let's see.
Yeah. So, uh, I am suddenly surrounded by all the pinks and all because it was reminding, and then it was like reminding me of our open studio that we did on friendship with our new friends. Are they new though? They don't seem
And
new
that's not
anymore.
right. I mean, when do we realize that we wish somebody happy friendship day? What's the line? Do we like have a line that we draw that, okay, this friend has been friend for so much time. So this person deserves a happy friendship day with like whatever. And
Yeah,
then there are all of these social media posts that come from various people who have their own brands who will just put hi friends, happy friendships day, and with regards, whatever the tag name or
yeah.
brand name is. So I'm like, how potent it is, or like what's the value of actually wishing and where does it come from?
Haven't looked into it. And for me, it's been very like, like how you are a huge fan of birthdays, and I'm like, it somehow doesn't make sense to me that,
Mhm.
there is like so much of, because it's so much of planning, pressure, and focus on that particular day, and
Yeah.
having to, be free, be mentally and physically prepared for that day. It somehow becomes like too much of a pressure for me, you know, and also like remembering the days. And so similarly, this whole friendship thing for me, it was like, चलो birthdays याद रखना होता है, it's very important. अब ये और days क्यों आ गए हैं? Valentine Day, Friendship Day, and all that. And so like with Friendship Day, it is, to me, it's like, yeah, every day we are having these moments of celebration spawn. And
Mm-hmm.
uspe, I'm being a total party pooper, I know. Like, but I wanted to bring in, yeah, all types of thoughts and feelings towards the topic. That you're a fan of the whole wishing phenomenon of Friendships Day and all.
Yeah, definitely so. But even with other days, I mean, very recently I did have a conversation with someone who was like, what's the point? It's just a marketing gimmick and so on and so forth. And why can't you wish 365 days a year? The other, if you don't do it, then what is the point? Why do you have to give your mother or a father or a parent or any particular person that particular day only? And I'm like, it's not about only, it's about just cherishing or being grateful for in that moment then and there
Yeah.
as an added appreciation.
Yeah, so I'm that person.
No,
But
definitely not. Trust me.
but yeah, that being said, I think for me, celebration of friendship becomes very specific. Like, yes, the whole world celebrates this umbrella thing of Friendships Day celebration. With you'll see that we will be celebrating the Markolide Divas.
Yeah.
That will be a Friendships Day thing. Then my memory is so amazing that I will remember these moments of friendship and joy that we share together. That I will be sharing that, and that moment becomes a celebration. So I guess it needs to be a very specific thing. Like, I will not celebrate Markolite Divas, aka friendship with Shireen, with anybody else. So I guess for
Yeah.
me, it needs to be a specific thing. I'm not against the celebration, but I think I would celebrate differently. Similarly, with Valentine's Day, I'll also celebrate those moments that would have happened. romantically as the romance was bubbling and all that. Yeah, you were
I
saying.
think more than just everything having to be celebrated in, anniversary terms also. And this too, I definitely will for Markolide was. But I also think it's a little bit of an acknowledgement and sharing of gratitude, I would say. That's how
Yeah,
I look at it. Because for me, it's not that broadcast message to just put it out there that these are my friends and I'm wishing them or putting an Instagram story. It has to be more meaningful. It has to be with a
yes,
lot of intent. So when I'm thinking of the person, and that is when I type the message, I don't like to put in a same kind of a message to everybody. There has to be a personal touch, because then what's the point otherwise?
yeah,
And I think, yeah, that's where it comes from. Because I remember in the film Dil Chahta Hai that uh, Saif Ali Khan, the girl he likes, what's her name? And the guy that she's seeing at that time, he's like, so and so day pe hum so and so bar mile the, and that is what had happened on that day. And they were just, you roll your eyes constantly because he's so particular about each thing, that this is the first time we saw each other, this is the first time we talked, this was the first time that we went out for a date or something, so on and so forth.
hmm,
And that concept, I'm like, that's a little overbearing, definitely. But
yeah,
in a larger scheme of things, I do appreciate it.
yeah. The specificity that you were talking about, like making a specific message for a friend for the Friendships Day. Yeah, totally game for that. क्योंकि वो just umbrella thing, happy Friendships Day, for me it's like, okay, happy Friendships Day. Hey, you think it's because I don't like small talk? It's like small talkish category, because there is no, I don't know, I'll think about this later.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we can break it down, because on an umbrella sense, also, I like that certain people out there will like, because that idea, right, that people, we band together as people, that we come together when required, the sense of community, all of those things that I wish we can create further with a lot of more intent, having no judgments, no like biases, no stereotypes. And in that sense, I would like everybody to be a friend. So
Yeah.
when you say happy friendship day and just get people together, that would also be interesting. But no, this day, um yeah, I don't know. It's just going here and there in my mind, but it's
And
interesting.
then, so it has to be a little like specific right there, that, we are celebrating our friendship because this, like, if our cohort was to celebrate our friendship today, we would have been creating probably that quilt idea that I had,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Also, with our cohort, sorry, like with our cohort, I would really like the day when we first met. I think that day is still so clear. Like when we first met, I was
yeah.
like, okay, we're staying in this guest house. We don't know each other. We've seen each other maybe online, and we've entered into this phenomenal journey, and we didn't know it then.
Yeah.
But just that space and that energy, I don't know, was it 7th September, 2022, or
Yeah.
6th or 8th? Yeah,
Yes, it was that. I think a little early because seventh our classes were starting, I guess.
the
So
6th.
we would have come early. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I mean. That, like, if it has to be, because I won't be able to do, okay, friendship day, so friendship band exchange. Even if the
Mm-hmm.
friendship band exchange is happening, I would end up making something very specific to each person.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like the cards I shared with everybody,
yeah.
it was something very specific, even though they were pretty similar, the art wise over the card, but I had shared something very specific for each person. Because, like,
Yeah.
अपने को नहीं चलता कि सेम बस चोटी बना दिया, कलाई में बांध दिया, ऐसे
And I know because I used to make my own friendship bands. So I
yeah,
get that. I had
right,
my ways of making friendship bands.
right. So yeah, friendship.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on, you have your art. So, in this open studio that we did with our cohort, our art buddies, the prompt was create a frame for a check-in, like whatever frame of mind we are in, any shape. And then within that frame was the original prompt, the photo frame of friendship. So whatever you sit with as the meaning of your friendship, you create that inside that frame. So Shireen, what did you create?
Yes, I have shared my photo frame of friendship, and that's mine. Can you see it as the full screen?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I think by now we understand that I don't like a lot of structure in terms of it doesn't have to be rectangular. And that's why I just wanted something that's a little more fluid, a little more abstract, and that is how the shape of the frame came around. And then because we were also celebrating friendship, then we're like, let's keep pink as the theme, and everybody was dressed in pink. I wanted colors to be in that space. So I started off with pink, then I created shades around that. And my whole idea was, what is it that I feel when I'm with my friends, with the people I truly cherish? And first idea was flow, being in that space, the comfort. So I came up with the whole water element of it being flow. And I created this boat because I do feel like as friends, there is a little bit of enhancement and growth that kind of takes place together. And we're all in this journey of like life in a sense together, but
yeah,
also because we are, it is that we in the thick and thin of sharing, of learning, of creating together. And that's why all of these leaves and stones, truly because we're all differently shaped
yeah,
in our thoughts, in our bodies, in the spaces that we come from. But there is something that kind of gets us enmeshed together. There is a reason that we kind of stay together and we meet and we celebrate this aspect of the simple idea that we do like spending time with each other.
Hmm.
And that is,
And like the
you would,
frame is also like in flow shape.
yeah, I think it just came around. And then the element of my friends and us being people who really carry each other together. So those two red are the fiery, the warmth, the thing that is kind of holding the entire boat. I don't know if you can see it, but that was the idea for getting
Uh-huh.
all the elements of nature within us and through us with a very warm sunset in the background.
The
So
whole,
this is really,
all the elements are so cohesive.
mm,
Like I did not notice that during the open studio, but yeah, it is so cohesive, and I like that it has been blended with oil pastels. That
yeah.
blending of it all, and the flow, and the sky is so beautiful.
And the spiral had to be there because I feel like that's a total representation of life in its essence and
Where is
creativity.
the
And
spiral?
it's here. If you like see it, it keeps going. It's a multiple colors spiral. I've not defined it. I've really merged it a bit here. This entire space.
Got it. Amazing,
So
man.
this really is like a homage or an ode to all my friends and a wish of happy Friendship Day, you inclusive, to everybody who creates this kind of space for me in life. And just the simple aspect of being authentically you. I think
Yeah.
that's where I'm leaning towards most these days, and since the past couple of months, is the aspect of being unapologetically you and being accepting of the other person unconditionally. Because I don't think in this friends or this community space we have, it should be something that has any kind of framing of ideas.
Framing of ideas. Nice. And then immediately after that, Shireen and I joined this lovely session, which was
Mm-hmm.
so, so needed, because it has been so long that we like sat within our original format of friendship that started format. When we started to bond as such was through classes, through online classes, right? So that is where all the discussions and sharing of the thoughts and getting excited about topics and then going into rabbit holes of tangent talks. So वो वाला aspect जो था in in that little class on films that we attended by Siddharth Pandey. So that was quite interesting that, wo karne ke baad. So for me, it was in my mind was like, hey, this day is going really well. Because when I had shared with you that let's do this class, this session, for me it was like, yeah, let's do like a renaissance, you know,
I
uh,
love that word.
right? So I was like, what do we need right now? We need a Shirin and Kopal renaissance. What shall we do? So I was like, yeah, this thing where they were going to talk about Sanjay Leela Bhansali's direction. So I don't watch Hindi movies as much, but I'm a huge fan of direction. So I was like, perfect. Like there can be so much conversation that can happen around it, and then like amazingly the open studio thing happened, and you thought of friendship being the theme. I'm like, okay, Markolide,
Quite a Markolide.
right? So, which takes me back to the thing that we wanted to talk about. Blood is thicker than water, and what is the whole quote?
So very recently, again, Instagram, I do agree that at times is a very good learning tool also. And I came across these phrases which are misunderstood and mispronounced or like used incorrectly. So I thought blood is thicker than water always meant that family ties or your ties from where you come from are always stronger or are meant to be stronger than friends, like the chosen people that you hang out with or you have through school. It's always like, okay, you have a cousin's birthday party and you have a friend's something, but no, blood is thicker than water. You have to attend the family occasions because that is how
Yeah.
it is said. And then this fellow said, and he said, That's incorrect. It is blood of the covenant is thicker than water of the womb. And that actually means that our chosen bonds hold more value or are stronger than the ones that we are biologically connected with. And
Hmm.
it kind of just shattered so many things for me in the sense of how society looks at so many relationships in our life, that these are the chosen ones, chosen for not a Harry Potter pun intended, but chosen in the like we choose to stay together. There is no default setting, there is no compulsion, there is no the idea of someone will feel bad because you're supposed to do this or should or must. Well, they do end up coming because it's just we're hardwired to think like that majorly. But so that's why friendship, more than friendship, is the covenant, right? The aspect of community, the aspect of sharing our lives with people whom we connect with on some other level. It could be intellectually, it could be just comfort wise, it could be some common hobby or something that we have that we're doing together, working together. All of these people, when we stay together, that has more power because then we are more us, right? There are no preconceived notions that we come from, no surname attached. It is just individually being us, which I find really powerful.
Yeah,
What do
and
you
then,
think?
sorry,
What do you think I'm saying?
I was thinking about the found family aspect of
Mhm.
it, wherein like how I am going about looking for different populations to work with as a future art therapist. So I've been having conversations with the trans people in the trans community, and I was reminded of all the conversations I had with the trans community as I was doing my final dissertation for the previous masters. And over there, I got to learn about the whole concept of found family, that they that whole thing of the community and the society is not accepting of the trans community or people transitioning into their true forms of the genders that they identify, um, and because of that they just lack that support. And so much of family support is important. Otherwise, it hampers the sense of self, and then with so much of imposter syndrome and more that you step out into the world, it gets so difficult.
Hmm.
And that's what my research was about, that gender non-binary expression and self-esteem. And it was a qualitative research to find out where their self-esteem is at because
Hmm.
of them not getting to express their gender. So, with sitting with those people, and even recently, I had conversations with a few, that there is that thing of, them, what you spoke just now, them wanting to give the acknowledgement of their biological family. They do that, and they're like, if I don't give respect and all to my biological family, even though they were not as supportive and understanding, but they have that little hesitation, that repeated practiced speech that they have. You get to know that they have said this to so many people.
Because they've spoken about it so many times also, like people must be asking them.
Like they'll say like, yeah, my family is in so and so city, but I am over here right now. I do feel like going back. I mean, they have been very nice. It's not like blah blah blah,
Mm.
because they're also testing waters and all that. And then they will speak in lengths about, oh, but then when I found my found family, or this
Mm.
NGO, or this ये दीदी जिन्होंने मुझे अपने घर में लिया, और मेरे जैसे बहुत सारे लोग थे, and certain NGOs are funded enough to give them money for their hormone therapy, or mostly what they do is they get into sex work, and that's how they get the money to be able to pay for their career, their studies, their hormone therapy, and all that. And so yeah, there the found family aspect, you know, is where I got to really see how important that is, and the pressure of wanting to give, wanting to, say that yes, my biological family is valued by me as well. मुझे गलत मत समझना with that thing. But then towards the end, they'll just share that what all
Yeah.
they've really been through. So yeah.
I think found family is such an interesting concept also because even for us being in this field of therapy and counseling, a lot of people always have this element कि भाई हाँ मुझे गलत मत समझना. They're nice people. They're good people. They've really brought me up well. They've always provided me. But it is also important for them to acknowledge that there are issues or there are certain things that have not been okay in that space or environment or communication that happened or just the relationship that kind of gets you to a place where you are mentally not doing very well. And you
Mm.
need to acknowledge that also. It doesn't make them bad people, it doesn't make anyone so. But that aspect really, that those barriers need to be come down and need to be lowered for a person
Yeah.
to come to terms with what they're actually feeling and where it's coming from, to be honest. And that's why found families become very dear. They hold so much more esteem. Because
Yeah.
you remember during COVID, unfortunate times for a lot of families,
Yeah.
and there were difficult things that people were going through, and a lot of these posts started appearing that if you wish to, I'm there for you. A lot of people were just putting it on their status that I'm here if you wish to talk about it, and don't feel alone, and things like those. And I used to always wonder that does that help? Can you just put a post and will that be enough? Will someone who's actually feeling alone or lonely or not feeling very okay with a certain loss or just whatever is going on in their life because there was such rampant grief,
Like
to put
you
a
always,
post.
like you always say, na, that words have so much of weightage.
Mm,
I feel in the right headspace, those words must have helped them, you
mm,
know. when they are like completely in that state that there is, I feel there is absolutely nobody there for me. Nobody can, no, I mean, that headspace of कि यार कहीं से कुछ तो gleam of hope दिखे, you know. Um, so if they read something like that in that moment, it can help. But if somebody is already in that completely given up headspace, they might just say कि ये लिखने से क्या होता है, तुम
Mhm.
मेरे कमरे में प्रकट थोड़ी हो जाओ. So it's all about the headspace that they are in, कि कितना किसको असर करता है. Maybe somebody
Yeah.
is like, I didn't come across these posts because मैंने like deliberately I was making my content not be that,
Mhm.
because yeah, I have always been working the apps and everything that I use, that I teach the algo what I want to see. So I've always been doing that. So because yeah, sometimes words can get triggering also.
Of course, definitely so. I mean, they really, really can. But even today, actually, now that I think about it and you're saying, it does make sense. For someone, it could simply be a little affirmation that yes, there is somebody else also. I
Hmm.
don't need to feel this really because so many people are taking the effort of creating this kind of content, which is valuable. It's just
Yeah.
if they do come up with a little bit of backing of understanding what they're truly saying, because words do have so much power.
We are
Nice.
such people with so many different schools of thoughts, right? कहीं ना
Hmm.
कुछ, like there is something for someone in any platform or everywhere. So they will find that helpful, and some people won't find it helpful. And then they would like think that ये तो exist ही नहीं करना चाहिए. But yeah, we are not seeing the complete picture that yeah, this is existing because it has helped somebody, you know. So yeah, it's quite this thing that for people those who are like, oh please God, show me some sign.
Hmm.
And if the timing of it all fits well, and then they come across that thing that yeah, I'm there for you,
Yeah.
you know.
A,
But
a
अभी
certain
कोई,
validation that occurs. Yeah.
पर वही है कि आप कह नहीं सकते कि वो ग्रीफ का गुस्सा या सॉरो या कहाँ कितनी इंटेंसिटी में बैठा है, एंड हाउ वुड दोज वर्ड्स मीट देम, कांट से.
Really, actually, you can't. To what extent things affect people. And it again just brings me back to this particular because you're talking about words and the frame aspect of it. And in the session that we attended by Siddharth Pandey and Sanjay Leela Bhansali's this quote that we both were like, frame
Yeah.
is sacrosanct. And it so stayed with me. And especially the Markolide of us creating that photo frame of friendship as per your prompt in our open studio. And then I was like, is frame a limiting area or it's a freeing idea? I'm still trying to dabble in both those spaces.
So if you remember, Sabrina did not put any frame because she wanted it to be boundless. And yeah, I did put a frame, but I was like, yeah, but what do I put inside of it? So I was also sitting with this thing that should we have created the creation first and then the frame? But no, the prompt was to have a check-in of the frame of mind that we are in and then contain the thing, just like a mandala. First you draw the
Yeah,
circle, then create.
yeah, because when you also said frame, for me, I was like, I don't want to contain my friends. And am I trying to contain my friendship or what it means to me or it does? But I was like, I'm also kind of acknowledging what it is. So my idea of doing a frame doesn't have to be rectangular. I can just create whatever shape
Yeah.
and space I want. So that whole aspect of it being like this, because no two relationships are perfect in any sense. And the fact that any two friends will also have their own different kind of relationship,
Hmm.
which I do realize with all my different people. So that uh, shape has to be a little shapeless. The
Yeah.
form is the obviously wabi sabi has to be there as the main element. But I also remember in one of the books that I was reading that it was about positive quotes or something like that. So they've drawn a character that is sitting inside, and he's drawing a painting a frame around him.
Wow.
Like he's literally inside and he's painting a frame around it, and there's a little space out there. And it's always stayed with me because I'm like, हम बाहर से अंदर are we doing it, or we're sitting inside and then creating a frame around us? Are we limiting ourselves, or are we containing ourselves? Or because the idea also comes like, are we labeling this aspect?
Yeah, and
Or
that's what is the idea of a prompt, right? So that's what was the check-in prompt, that let's create a frame. And I had this thought that it would help people meet with the frame of mind that they are in. But
hmm.
I would not share that when we do Markolide Open Studios. uh, I would not share that this is for you to explore the frame of mind you're in. I would just say let's create a frame, like a photo
Mhm.
frame. And that's why it is so interesting what you just shared for me, that these questions started to come from within.
Yeah.
And that's what these prompts do, right? Like you start having these questions, these wonderments, and like just keeping those questions nicely somewhere, or be really bothered by it and like stay with it. I need the answer. So it just takes you somewhere. And एक और चीज आई थी माइंड में कि friendships are, like before we wrap up, friendships are so interesting that the people in the friendship, a definition of this friendship for me will be completely different from what,
Hmm.
friendship with, like the Markolide of our friendship is for you.
Hmm.
एंड वही उस चीज को साथ में एक्सप्लोर करना, उसके बारे में बातें करना, एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई एंजॉय सो मच कि, so from my vantage, when I look at Shireen and Kopal, this is what I see. So Shireen, what do you see when you see Shireen and Kopal? And we have this amazing opportunity, because this is that,
Yeah,
while
and then
this
it
gets,
just makes me wonder that aren't all friendships Markolites? Because if there was not that element of that,
yeah.
like, oh my God, you too? And then in some on the other aspect, like something, maybe it's an internal connect or not.
There will be friendships where there is no same pinchness,
Hmm.
the Markolideness of it all.
Hmm.
क्योंकि हम लोग सोचते हैं कि yes, वो hashtag same वाला factor is what grows the friendship. For me, it's definitely that.
Hmm.
Because I am so different, I end up looking for the sameness.
Hmm.
Because I have met so many people where I've felt like, oh, they won't get that. But I've adapted through it, that I'll be able to explain that if they will say that, no, that's not the case for me. I've never heard of that. So I will get them curious, and I will explain it, that this is that. But before it used to be like, if there is like no hashtag same is like getting cancelled completely. So for me it'll be like, oh, okay, so the friendship can't happen here. Got it. But then I adapted into this person, and hence I am able to have conversation with anybody about anything, you know. And I do feel that there are friendships where there is a sense of comfort, that there is no hashtag same between two people.
Yeah, but that comfort is there, right?
तो हाँ, the shared experience तो रहेगा ही definitely,
Shared experience.
right? But I
I think
feel
shared
like
experience is better. Yeah.
जरूरी नहीं है कि मार्कोलाइडीनेस हो हर दोस्ती में,
Hmm.
you know,
True.
because there are so many people that who will not interact as much, but then they will, that shared experience brings them together after how many ever years or months, but the
Hmm.
friendship still exists, and it is
Hmm.
amazing.
Good. Yeah.
And that's why, like, I enjoy the whole concept of a friendship. It is so intense also, but also so freeing also. Not because so many thoughts coming to my mind as
I
we are
know. I'm also
going to
thinking
wrap
of
up.
conformity and fitting in, but then being yourself, because that has to be the mark of
Mhm.
of a friendship where it is just you being you. Then you don't have to do that deliberate attempt of wanting to fit in or conform. You just want to be you in whatever element, and then but still you want it to be enmeshed together in this fluid kind of a thing. And it's so visual now that I look at it. But then
Right?
all pieces coming together in our own way.
And I feel like friendships really exist because there is this aspect of play in it, no matter what age, depending on the person, of course.
Mm.
You know, there is like professional relationships and family relationships. If there is no play aspect over there, but it still keeps on existing. You
Yeah.
know, the family ties beautifully exist with the love and the uh, ghar ka shared experience, and the professional relationship where the productivity or whatever enmeshes the professional relationship. But जरूरी नहीं है कि दोनों जगह पे that play factor is there. बट फ्रेंडशिप्स में आप देखो कि कितने सारे इनसाइड जोक्स विद नो फियर ऑफ ऑफेंडिंग फैमिली मेंबर और प्रोफेशनल पार्टनर, और लाइक फियर विद द प्रोफेशनल पार्टनर कि अरे यार ये वाला जोक डिस्कस कर दिया तो इंक्रीमेंट के टाइम पे दिस पर्सन सिट्स विद दैट टीम, although I should have not done that joke.
Yeah.
But with friendship it's like कुछ भी चलता है.
Hmm. Yeah, true. And a little bit of allowance of कुछ भी चलाने का that feeling that no, we understand, we allow, we let, because it's part of everything. We listen, we're there. That is also something that I feel like happens because you just accept no. So then that allowance of थोड़ा बहुत a little less, a little more, a little left, a little right, all
Yeah.
works. All is okay. All is fine.
And my
Yeah.
endeavor is always been like I want to put in play in everything. Like with the family ties, चाहे वो professional हो, जैसा भी हो. I guess that's why like my sense of humor brings in that play aspect, you know.
Yeah, because it lowers our barriers, no, even physically. So we become
Yeah,
just like more more giving with ourselves, with others also, because play brings that in us, in how we are.
yeah. चलो, the call will drop anytime now. So thank you for listening and celebrating
Mhm.
Friendships Day with me.
Us, happy Friendships Day
Yes.
to, yes, just in general also.
Yeah.